In today's video, we're going to create a bare metal home assistant PC. So you're going to need some things. You're going to need a bare metal home machine that you're going to use. I've got an old Dell 7010 with 128 gigabyte SSD and 8 gig of RAM. It's got a keyboard connected to it. It's connected to my network. If you're looking for a machine like this, I've got a couple of links on my website, links in the description. It's probably 6, 7 year, 8 year old business desktop, and it'll be great for the job. So you're going to need that. You're going to need access to a screen. If she who must be obeyed is not watching EastEnders, I could probably kick her off that and plug that in. So I could use an HDMI connector. You need to see the screen. You don't need to see the screen once you've got it set up, because it's a server and it'll just sit there. It's nice to still be able to do it if you leave the connection in place but just unplug it. That's kind of good. You're going to need a keyboard, and you're going to need one of these, which I've started calling a computer transformational device. If you follow that video up there, it will tell you how to make an Ubuntu boot disk, which computer transformational device. Okay, so that's all you're going to need. So let's roll the credits and get into it. Okay, if you're coming at this wanting to install Home Assistant new, you can jump this section. This is for anybody that's moving from another type of Home Assistant to bare metal. What we're going to do is we're going to back it up. So if you've not got anything to back up, you don't need this section. Just jump onto the next section. Use the markers below. Use the markers below and you'll be able to jump to the next section. So what we need to do is back it up. So we go to settings, scroll down to the bottom, system, backups, click backup now, click manual backup. I'm doing settings. I'm going to do my history. I'm not going to put any media as shared folder, and I'm going to do all my add-ins. So then we click next. What should we call it? And I'm going to call it move backup, and I'm going to click custom location, and I'm just going to back it up to this system. I don't need it to back up to Google Drive. Well, I suppose I could. Let's back it up to Google Drive as well. So we do create backup, and away it goes. And if I go and look at my backups now and say show my backups, and I'll close down the automatic ones, and look, there's my move backup. So what I need to do is I'm going to download it. So that'll put it into my downloads folder. Okay, and it's called move backup.tar. So we go and look there. Oh, I've got lots of stuff in here. So I've got move backup.tar, and I know I've got a backup. I've also got backups from previous times. If this goes horribly wrong, then I've got other backups to go back to. But this is the one I'm going to use for now. So I've got that. The other thing I need to do is, this is a just in case. Since early 2025, Home Assistant gave a way of protecting your backups, which kind of makes sense, because your backups has got all your system, it's got all your passwords, it's got all your stuff in it. So what they did is they encrypted the backups as they were created. You can switch it off, but it's probably not a good idea. The thing you really need to do is make sure you've got the encryption key. So in backup settings, the very bottom, I'm going to download the emergency repair kit. Okay, so I've got that too. So if I open that folder, So I've got my backup, I've got my backup emergency repair kit, which has the key, which we'll use later, but we just need to make sure you've got it. If you've got a backup and you haven't got that key, you're screwed, is the term here. So you need to get the backup key. So we're all set up now. So what we can do now is we can start installing Home Assistant on a bare metal machine. As you can see, it said preparing one-time boot menu. So I've got that there. I'm all ready, and I'm just going to check going into BIOS setup. So we'll go into BIOS setup. So this is my Dell computer. As you can see, 8 gig of RAM. This is its boot sequence, where it's going. As you can see here, there's an important section here. Home Assistant uses UEFI. You have legacy and UEFI, and they're different ways of making the computer start. So legacy is the old way of doing things. When you switch a computer on, all it knows is I need an operating system, and it can either look at legacy way or UEFI way. Home Assistant uses UEFI setup, so we need to make sure it's on UEFI. I don't think we need to worry about any of the other settings in here. We just need to make sure it's on UEFI. That's all fine. Everything else is fine. So we can come out of that menu. I'm just pressing escape. And I'm going to press F12 again because it's rebooting. And as you see at the top of the screen, you get preparing one-time boot menu. Right, so I'm all ready to go now. Now my USB key is the SAN disk, so you can see there's my option. So I'm going to press that. So I've now got an option of Ubuntu safe, boot from next volume, all sorts of stuff. We want to try or install Ubuntu. You're now going to need the mouse to control what's going on the screen. It's not the fastest because it's booting off a USB key. There we go. Right, I'm going to choose English. I don't have any accessibility issues that I want to have. I've got a English UK keyboard. I've got a wired connection to the internet. That's quite important. I can update the installer. I'm going to click skip because we're not doing anything with the installer. So this is the important menu here. We don't want to install Ubuntu, we want to try. Click close. Okay, and then we're into Ubuntu. So what we need to do now is get a copy of the disk image that we're going to install. So we load up Firefox. Okay, and in Google we'll search for Home Assistant X64 because it uses a 64 version. Download. Okay, and that's the one we want, generic X64, and it's taken us to the instructions. Covers the things we've already done. So configuring the BIOS, that's how to do it on a NUC. Try Ubuntu, download the image. Okay, here comes down the image. So that's stored it in our downloads directory. So what we need to do now is run a thing called disks, which if we click on the bottom button there and go into utilities, then we can load disks. Now these are all my disks. So as you can see, I've got a Samsung disk, I've got a DVD drive, and I've got my thumb drive. We click on the Samsung disk. I know there's going to be a problem here. Now this is different to the Home Assistant instructions. If you don't do this, it doesn't work. I have requested the instructions be updated. The problem is these images, these file system images, means that it can't write to it. So what we've got to do is we've got to wipe that disk. As you can see at the top here, it's called dev/sda1. Now that's kind of important. So what we've got to do is we've got to go to a terminal line. Okay, so we've got a terminal command and we've got to type something in. So let's get the keyboard to where I can type. And the command we have to type in is, first of all, sudo. Now what sudo means is change to root, kind of be really important so you can do everything. And then we're going to go dd, which means we're going to do stuff with disks. And then you want if equals /dev/0. Okay, and now comes the bit that's important. Oh no, the disk we're going to do it to. So OF equals /dev/SDA. Then what we're going to do, just scrolled off my screen. What we're going to do is we're going to say the disk size it's going to write is going to be 1 megabyte. Now that means it's going to do it quick. And then we want to have a status equal to progress. So it will just show us what it's doing. Okay, and then hit enter. Away it goes. Now this is going to take, depending on the size of your disk, a fair amount of time. So you can see it's done 2 gigabytes of disk so far, 3.8. So I've got to do 128. So by the magic of the internet, okay, that's complete. I've actually had to do it twice because somebody stopped it halfway through by trying to load YouTube on the wrong screen. What you then need to do is you need to do a reboot of Ubuntu, or a shutdown and switch it back on again. So it's a case of going up to the menu up here and selecting power off in this case, and saying power off. And then you need to go through the complete process again to get back into Ubuntu. So as you can see, it's asking me to remove the installation media, and it won't be happy until I've done it. Pressing enter, and my machine is off. So I'm then going to put the thing back in, press the on button, tap the F12 key. Okay, I've got one-time boot. USB key, try Ubuntu, and I'll speed this bit up because we've already done it. Back where we were, Going back to utilities and disks, if you look now at the disk, it's one big disk, which means it'll work. So we can click on the disk, we can click on there, we can click on restore disk image. The image to restore, we just click on that icon, go to downloads, there's the image, select open, select start recording. It comes back and says, are you sure you want to do this? And yes, I am. And you're going to need to press authenticate, and there it starts. And I'll speed this process up again. Okay, that's finished. So what we can do now is we can close all these things down. We can go power mode. Oh, click on the arrow at the end. No, I don't want to do that. I want to restart. I want this button. Restart. Do we want to restart? Yes. It'll ask us to remove the USB key, which I've done, and press enter. And we can watch Home Assistant load up. Right, Home Assistant has started up. We now need to leave it for a few minutes because it's still doing stuff in the background, which will give me time to kill a dog. The important number to point out here is the IP address. So 192.168.1.157 is my IP address. Okay, moving to a browser now. So the number we needed to remember was 192.168.1.157, and we need to remember to put 8123 at the end. That's the port number that Home Assistant uses. And I need to put commas instead of colons, so we need to put in 192.168.157.8123. Okay, so Home Assistant has started and all set up. You might get a message saying, hang on a minute, I'm still doing stuff. So I've got lots of choices now. I could create my smart home. Okay, it wants to know a user and details. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload my backup. Okay, so I select the file from downloads. Okay, there's my move backup.tar. Click open. Select what I want to restore. Well, I want everything. Okay, click restore backup. Now, as you can see, it says depending on the size of the backup, it may take a while. Now I'm expecting it to ask for my encryption key, which it doesn't seem to have done. Now I may have switched it off in the backup. We'll check before I finish the video. So by the magic of the internet, I'm going to make this jump to when it's finished. The Home Assistant is loaded. Okay, so we're all loaded. You've got Home Assistant installed. I'm about to change clothes to show you 2 videos. If you could like and subscribe in the meantime. If you don't want to watch the videos, that's fine. Otherwise, I'll see you on the next one. Unless you want to watch these 2.